For 300 years, the galaxy believed humanity feared war. The statement spread through military academies, senate halls, pirate dens, and royal courts like a proven scientific fact. Humans negotiated too often. They compromised too easily. They built trade routes instead of conquest fleets. They sent diplomats before soldiers. Even after joining the Galactic Accord, humanity became known as the species that avoided escalation at almost any cost. The Dravari Imperium mocked them openly, calling humans the trembling merchants of Earth. The Korth Dominion described them as emotionally fragile. Entire alien civilizations studied human psychology and came to the same conclusion. Humans feared destruction because they understood it too well. And in a way, they were right. Humanity did fear war. They feared it because no species in the known galaxy understood its true cost better than they did. Humans remembered every battlefield they had ever created. They remembered cities turned into ash under mushroom clouds. They remembered trenches filled with boys who never became old men. They remembered entire populations starving because politicians wanted power. They remembered genocide, extinction, campaigns, chemical plagues, orbital firestorms, collapsing nations, and oceans poisoned by greed. Long before humanity reached the stars, Earth itself had nearly died from human conflict. The scars remained buried beneath their civilizations and beneath their DNA. So when humanity entered the galactic stage, they made a collective decision unlike any species before them. They would never become conquerors. Never again. They would build fleets only for defense. Their warships carried more evacuation pods than missiles. Human soldiers studied diplomacy before combat doctrine. Even Earth's military academies taught one principle above all others. If war begins, then everyone has already failed. Other species saw restraint as weakness because they had never experienced what humans had survived. Most galactic civilizations evolved under unified planetary governments or dominant empires. Few had endured the endless cycle of self-destruction that humanity had escaped. To them, war was strategic, controlled, limited. To humans, war was a monster that consumed generations. And monsters were never predictable. For decades, the galaxy benefited from humanity's patience while simultaneously ridiculing it. Human engineers rebuilt collapsing colonies without demanding tribute. Human medical ships traveled into plague sectors others abandoned. Human diplomats ended border wars between species that hated each other for centuries. Earth became the backbone of galactic stability, but respect never followed. Fear did not either. Humanity was useful but not dangerous. That illusion became fatal when the Dravari Imperium rose to dominance. The Dravari were enormous reptilian warriors born on a high-gravity death world where violence determined social rank. Their empire expanded through annihilation. Resistance was crushed publicly to terrify neighboring systems into surrender. They respected only overwhelming force, and humanity's peaceful nature disgusted them. The Dravari Emperor, Kale Vorth, openly declared before the Imperial Senate that humans had evolved beyond courage. The statement spread across the galaxy within hours. Human ambassadors ignored the insult. They always did. But then the Dravari crossed a line no civilization should have crossed. It began at the colony of New Carthage, a human agricultural world near contested territory. It held no military value, no major fleet presence. Only 8 million civilians, most of them farmers, engineers, and families seeking peaceful lives far from Earth. When Dravari forces demanded control of the system, the colony governor refused, citing Galactic Accord law. Humanity expected negotiations. Instead, the Imperium decided to make an example. 3 Dravari war moons entered orbit over New Carthage and issued a planetary surrender countdown. The colony had no defenses capable of resisting them. Human diplomats pleaded for emergency intervention at the Galactic Council. But politics delayed everything. Some species argued Earth should simply surrender the system. Others believed the Dravari were bluffing. Humanity kept requesting peace until the final minute. Then the war moons fired. Entire continents vanished beneath orbital plasma bombardment. Cities became oceans of fire visible from space. Emergency broadcasts flooded galactic networks as billions watched human civilians vaporized in real time. Parents screamed while shielding children from collapsing buildings. Medical stations burned with patients still inside. Escape ships exploded before clearing atmosphere. Within 4 hours, New Carthage was dead. 8 million civilians erased. The Dravari Emperor transmitted one final message across every communication channel in the galaxy. This is the price paid by those who mistake fear for morality. The galaxy expected outrage from Earth. They expected emotional speeches, sanctions, maybe defensive mobilization. Instead, humanity went silent. For 13 days, no human ambassador spoke at the Galactic Council. No fleets moved publicly. Human trade networks halted overnight. Embassies closed. Civilian transports returned to Earth territory. Surveillance probes detected unprecedented activity around Sol, but no one understood what humanity was doing. Some believed Earth was preparing surrender terms. Others assumed humans were paralyzed by grief. The Dravari celebrated. Their propaganda networks mocked humanity endlessly. But hidden deep beneath Earth's oceans, mountains, deserts, and ancient bunkers buried since humanity's darkest centuries, something awakened. Protocols untouched for over 200 years activated simultaneously across the solar defense network. Quantum locks opened. Ancient command codes transmitted through systems designed never to fail. Humanity had not been silent because they were weak. Humanity had been deciding whether the galaxy deserved to witness what came next. The truth was terrifying. Humanity's peaceful civilization had never dismantled its true weapons. They had hidden them. Earth's leaders understood something no other species did. Peace is only meaningful when violence remains possible. So while humanity showed the galaxy diplomacy, cooperation, and restraint, they secretly preserved weapons so catastrophic that even discussing them became forbidden under Earth law. Entire generations of humans believed many systems were myths. Autonomous war fleets hidden in interstellar dark zones. Planet cracker torpedoes capable of destabilizing planetary cores. Relativistic kill vehicles traveling near light speed. Stellar ignition bombs designed during humanity's final resource wars. Artificial intelligence combat networks too dangerous to activate. Weapons built during an age when humanity genuinely believed extinction was inevitable. Humanity never used them because they terrified even themselves. But after New Carthage, the debate ended. On the 14th day, every screen in the galaxy activated simultaneously. A human woman appeared wearing the black uniform of the United Earth Defense Authority. Secretary Amelia Reyes looked exhausted, as though she had aged decades in 2 weeks. Her voice remained calm, but the silence behind her frightened billions more than anger ever could. For centuries, she said, humanity chose restraint because we know what war becomes when morality dies. We begged for peace not because we lack strength, but because we understood the consequences of using it. New Carthage is gone. 8 million civilians were exterminated while the galaxy debated procedure. Therefore, the United Earth government now recognizes the Dravari Imperium as an existential threat to all sentient life. Effective immediately, humanity is entering total war. Then she paused. May God forgive us for what we are about to do. The galaxy had witnessed declarations of war before. None resembled what followed. Human fleets emerged from locations previously believed empty. Entire armadas appeared from dark space like ghosts. Massive black warships older than most civilizations activated without warning. Their hulls carried no insignias, no diplomatic markings, only numbers. Human military transmissions abandoned standard galactic language and shifted to encrypted wartime protocols unseen for centuries. Artificial intelligences previously banned under galactic law assumed control of logistics and tactical coordination. Within hours, humanity attacked 17 Dravari military systems simultaneously. Not border worlds, core systems. Shipyards vanished beneath relativistic bombardment before alarms could activate. Dravari defense fleets discovered human weapons ignored conventional shields entirely. Planets supplying the Imperium's war machine lost power, communications, and orbital infrastructure within minutes. But humanity still avoided civilian casualties. First, the Dravari Emperor laughed when reports reached him. He believed humanity was making an emotional mistake. The Imperium possessed the largest military in known space. Thousands of worlds, millions of soldiers. They had crushed civilizations far stronger than humans before. So Emperor Kale Vorth ordered full retaliation against Earth. The Imperial Grand Fleet, nearly 10,000 warships strong, began advancing toward Sol. Galactic analysts predicted humanity would collapse within weeks. Instead, the Grand Fleet disappeared. Completely. One moment it existed crossing the Varni's corridor. The next, every vessel was gone. No debris. No distress signals. Nothing. Then human intelligence leaked classified footage directly into galactic media streams. The recording showed what happened. As the Dravari fleet entered the corridor, space-time itself distorted. Hidden human devices activated across the system simultaneously, generating artificial gravity wells powerful enough to tear formation integrity apart. Then came the swarm. Millions of autonomous hunter-killer drones emerged from stealth fields surrounding the corridor. They moved with machine precision beyond organic reaction speeds. Dravari ships fired blindly, while the drones sliced through engines, reactors, and bridge compartments. But that was merely phase 1. The true horror arrived seconds later. A human dreadnought designated Erebus entered the battlefield. The vessel dwarfed entire cities. Ancient, black, silent. It carried a weapon humanity had sworn never to use again. The spinal cannon fired once. Observers later described the beam as looking like reality itself splitting open. Everything in its path ceased existing. Not exploded. Not destroyed. Erased. 3,000 Dravari warships vanished instantly. The remaining fleet surrendered within minutes. Panic spread across the galaxy. Species that once mocked humanity now watched in horror as the Dravari Imperium began collapsing faster than anyone believed possible. Human fleets did not celebrate victories. They advanced methodically, destroying military infrastructure with terrifying efficiency. Every strategic calculation the Imperium relied upon failed because humans fought unlike any species in galactic history. They anticipated irrationality because humanity itself had once mastered irrational violence. Human commanders understood genocide because their ancestors had committed it. They understood fanaticism, propaganda, psychological warfare, insurgency, cyber collapse, economic starvation, and total societal breakdown because human history contained all of it. Humanity had spent centuries studying their own worst moments specifically to ensure they never repeated them. Now those lessons became weapons. Entire Dravari sectors surrendered without resistance after witnessing human retaliation. But Emperor Kale Vorth refused peace. Pride blinded him. Desperate to regain control, he ordered biological attacks against human frontier worlds. Millions more died. And with that decision, the last restraints vanished. Historians would later identify that moment as the point where humanity stopped fighting a war and began executing destruction. Human fleets initiated Protocol Black. The galaxy would never forget Protocol Black. Human artificial intelligences infiltrated Dravari infrastructure so completely that entire planets lost digital functionality overnight. Defense grids targeted their own fleets. Supply chains collapsed. Communications turned against commanders using fabricated orders indistinguishable from authentic transmissions. Simultaneously, human stealth operatives sabotaged planetary reactors across hundreds of worlds. Then came the psychological offensive. Every Dravari citizen received uncensored footage from New Carthage continuously across every device, every screen, every network, every hour of every day. Humanity forced the Imperium to confront exactly what it had done. Riots erupted. Civil war followed. Entire Dravari military divisions mutinied after realizing their emperor had doomed them all. Still, humanity continued advancing. Coldly. Relentlessly. Not with hatred but something far worse. Determination. Human soldiers entering Dravari worlds displayed almost no emotion. They evacuated civilians, executed military leadership, dismantled governments, and moved on. Survivors later described human troops as terrifyingly calm. There were no speeches, no cruelty, no pleasure in violence, only purpose. It frightened the galaxy because everyone realized the truth at the same time. Humanity did not unleash destruction because they enjoyed war. Humanity unleashed destruction because they believed it was necessary. And a species willing to become monsters for survival was infinitely more dangerous than one driven by conquest. The end came at Dravar Prime. Emperor Kale Vorth barricaded himself inside the Imperial Citadel, while humanity surrounded the planet with thousands of warships. Galactic leaders begged Earth for mercy. By then, even humanity's allies feared what humans were becoming. Secretary Amelia Reyes received surrender offers from dozens of Dravari governors. But she ignored them until one condition was met. The Emperor himself had to stand trial for New Carthage. Kale Vorth refused. He declared humanity lacked the courage to destroy his throne world because billions of civilians lived there. He still believed humans feared war. He still did not understand. Humanity feared war precisely because they knew what they were capable of doing. When negotiations failed, the human fleet activated planetary siege formations. Across the galaxy, billions watched live broadcasts expecting extermination. Instead, humanity demonstrated something even more terrifying than destruction: control. Human warships neutralized every military installation on Dravar Prime within 17 minutes using precision strikes so accurate that civilian casualties remained statistically near zero. The Emperor's palace was isolated. His armies dismantled. His escape routes eliminated. Then human soldiers entered the Citadel personally. No orbital annihilation. No genocide. They dragged Emperor Kale Vorth from his throne alive to face judgment before the same galactic council that once dismissed humanity's warnings. During the trial, Kale Vorth finally asked the question haunting the entire galaxy. If humanity possessed this power all along, he demanded, why hide it? Secretary Reyes answered without hesitation. Because every weapon you saw was built during the worst periods of our history. We learned that strength without restraint leads only to extinction. You mistook restraint for weakness because your species never learned the difference. Then she leaned closer. Humans fear war because we know exactly what happens when we stop fearing it. The Dravari Imperium dissolved within months. The galaxy changed forever. No species ever mocked humanity again. But victory carried a terrible cost. Earth itself mourned not only the dead of New Carthage, but the return of something humanity had tried desperately to bury. Veterans of the conflict later admitted the same truth repeatedly. The scariest part was not how effective humanity became. It was how quickly. Beneath centuries of peace, cooperation, and diplomacy, the old instincts still survived. The capacity for total destruction remained embedded deep within human civilization. Waiting for the moment survival demanded its return. And across the galaxy, one warning became law in every military academy for generations afterward. Never mistake humanity's desire for peace as proof they cannot wage war. Because if humans ever decide war is truly necessary, then the conflict is already beyond saving.